Don't look at my Instagram and think that I'm a cocky arsehole, because I'm not.
This is the remarkable story of Reese, who has over 1.4 million followers on Instagram. Now, his story starts with him being unhappy, working a dead-end job, and he'd also dropped out of college. But things finally changed for him when he started to do things for himself.
So left college, ended back up in the kitchen. And there was one moment sort of like hit me hard. We had an agency chef. He was extremely overweight. He came in and I'm watching him thinking like, you just had like a quadruple shot of espresso. I don't want to be like that.
And how old were you at that time?
20, 21. If you put 100 people in the room, one out of that 100 would have been supportive.
Who was that one person to you that did support you?
That was my brother, who was working on the same place.
He is now known around the world for being an expert with e-commerce and helping people, inspiring them, teaching them. A self-made millionaire.
We made our first sale after 18 months. It was literally like £4, but we're jumping around the kitchen. If you're working a 9 to 5, stop looking at that as a job and just more of a tool rather than having that emotional attachment to money. What's going on, everyone? Thanks for having me, Stuart, on this podcast.
No, welcome. Seriously, thank you so much for taking your time out for being here today. Now, I've just said that obviously you are now a self-made millionaire. You travel around the world. You've got over 1 million followers on your Instagram. You're known around the world for helping such wonderful people with their businesses and what have you. But let's go back to the very beginning. Little Reese, okay? Where did you start? Let's talk about your beginning.
Okay, so grew up, didn't really have much when we were growing up as a family. So we lived in Thamesmead.
Yeah.
So we lived there, small. We started off in a small flat. Mum and dads were working non-stop, obviously provide. I've got 2 siblings, brother and a sister. I'm the youngest, and we just sort of like just your typical lower class British family. Back in London, when we used to live here, it's a case of I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. I was sort of that person in secondary school, just sort of doing lessons, teachers sort of constantly asking you like, you know, what are you doing after school? What do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm just there like, I have no idea.
And did you have any hobbies or anything like that when you were younger?
Not much.
No.
I was just sort of that kid that sort of went to school, finished school, went home, stayed in their room, you know.
Kind of went to school because you had to go to school rather than wanting to be there, right?
Essentially, yeah.
So you were literally just going through life. There wasn't any constant. There was a lot of change, it seems, in your life, and you had no goal or target as to what you wanted to do. I mean, some children are lucky that they have a dream. This is what they want to do when they're older or what have you. Mm-hmm. But with you were kind of going through it. So you also have told me as well that there's a point where you were at college and you dropped out. How did it get to that? How did you get to the point where you needed to make a decision of dropping out and doing something else?
So a bit of a funny story with college. So I started doing catering at college, and then I got a part-time job working as a chef, and then working way up to like management. Then I was sort of like the manager of the whole place. And then there was one moment in all of this where it sort of like hit me hard. And I remember I was in the kitchen early morning. The previous day I did like a 13-hour shift, and I was straight back in at like 8 in the morning. I'm in there tired, yawning, and we had an agency chef come in, and where the kitchen was, it was like an open front. So you had the coffee machines for front of house, and the chef came in, 40s, 50s, something like that. He was extremely overweight. He came in, walked to the coffee machine, and he did a double espresso, and he's just standing there yawning, waiting for it to pour, and he just necked it straight away and put the cup back. And I'm watching him, and he pours another double espresso, and then he stands there and he's like looking around. He necks that as well, and he puts the cup back down. And I'm watching him thinking like, you've just had like a quadruple shot of espresso, and he pours another double one. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like watching him. I'm like, I don't want to be like that. Do you know what I mean? And like, no matter how like sad it is, like that's not the goal for me. And seeing a lot of the chefs that worked where I worked, a lot of them were in that similar position. Like they'd work all day, literally not see their family, work all day, finish work, and probably go to the pub for a few drinks and then go home and just repeat and repeat.
And how old were you at that time?
I'd say 20, 21.
And already you could already see that this environment wasn't for you. You're working with people that didn't sound happy as well, and you knew that you wanted better for yourself at that age. There must have been people around you that would have had kind of negative thoughts on what you were thinking and what you were doing. So you had finished college, or decided to drop out of college, and then you go back to working as a chef, and now you're wanting to do something else apart from that. You realize that this isn't for you too. So you must have had quite a job to convince people of your way of thinking. Like, were the people supportive of you, or were the people against you in that moment in time?
I would say if you put 100 people in the room, 1 out of that 100 would have been supportive.
Who was that one person to you that did support you?
That was my brother, who was working in the same place.
Okay.
So so there was a guy that used to drop his missus off where we used to work. And every day he'd be in like a brand new BMW. The next day he'd be in a brand new pickup truck. And the next day it'd be like another Porsche or something like that. And I used to try and Skype. So I used to be around the back of the bins having a cigarette. And I see this guy constantly pull up day after day, brand new cars. And in my mind, only logical explanation is he's a drug dealer. How else are you going to have this much money?
We all have those thoughts about certain people, right?
That's it,
like,
yeah.
Where do they get their money from, right? It's got to be something dodgy.
That's it. And so me and a work colleague, we looked into him, sort of like, what's his name? Google him, what's going to come up, all of this. And he was doing e-commerce. And this was sort of like all new. It was like, what's e-commerce and all of that. And obviously breaking it down, e-commerce is, if you've ever jumped onto Amazon and bought something, that's e-commerce right there. That's what it is. So looking into that, it was like, okay. And he was a part of like a training platform. So he was he was making really good money, but also he was helping others do things, and decided to buy a membership with this company. And at the time, the position I was in was a bad one, and I never told people, I never told family, like, debts and stuff like that. But I got myself into a position where I like to party a bit too much. So it was like, on the weekends, I would go out Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And if anywhere was open Sunday, I'd be there. So it was just to get out of actual life, basically.
Okay.
And it was getting to a point where I was just spending money. I was using a credit card this weekend, whack it on there. And it's getting to a point where I would be paid from work maybe £1,200, £1,300. And then I would have to pay off a loan that was £1,200, £1,300.
You're doing what you do, you've got your debt, and then you go out of a weekend to kind of escape all of that and have a good time.
That's
and
it.
then you get yourself more into debt, and it's a vicious circle, and you're on that hamster wheel, right?
And then the interest just bit by bit stacks up.
So how did you get off that hamster wheel?
So I stopped going out for one, so that sort of freed up a bit of cash flow to help. But in order to start e-commerce, it was like I needed some cash flow. I needed something to, have money to put into things. So my brother was okay at the time, so he had a bit of money. I got 2 credit cards. There was like, I'd say like £1,200 limit on each. So essentially my lifeline was focused on 2,400. That's all I had to focus on. So hence we didn't want to be scammed at that point. So we invested into the course. The course was not what it was meant to be. I realized that the system that we joined was more of just focusing on getting people's money. That was the main focus there. And that was like, at that time, like we're now, I don't know, 5 months into buying that membership. It was like, shit, like, have I made the wrong mistake? Because now I'm screwed because of debts and stuff like that. And my brother reached a point as well where he was like, oh, I don't want to do this and stuff like that. And I remember having a conversation with him, and it's a case of, if we give up like doing anything different, we're in the same position, like as we are. And if it works or it fails, like not much is going to change. So we stuck with it. We pushed forward. We kept going. We were doing this, I would say, for the best part of 18 months, I would say. And we made our first sale after 18 months. And during that whole phase, like going all the way back to about the 6-month mark, we mentioned it to a few people, and it just spread like wildfire around the workplace.
So how did people get to hear? I know you said you put the word out there, but
Yes.
who were these people that were investing and buying, and how did you get it out there? Like how did it?
So how we made the sales?
Yes, yeah,
So we created a pet store, general pet products. So obviously we used a drop shipping business model. So you add a load of products to your store, but you don't pay for the products until you sell them. So it's minimal risk.
right,
And then we were doing paid marketing. We were doing about £5 a day at that time, which was a lot of money. We were still at a big loss, but making sales shows that what you're doing is working. People are seeing your ads, whether they're on Facebook, Instagram, Google, and they're clicking through and they're making a purchase. So to us, it was like, now we need 100 of these people. So I was then sort of posting things. We were making some good money. We were doing like 5K months and everything there. So I was posting stuff on like my Instagram of like, oh, I'm in Greece this week and stuff. And then when I came back a month later, I went to Bali. So now people are seeing that and being like, hold on, this is that fucking boy who was broke all the time. How's he doing this? Then I replied, drug dealer. No, we didn't do that. But it was then a case of like, people were showing interest in what we were doing. So
yeah,
we then, at the time, businesses were growing and growing and growing. We quit our jobs, which was a massive success point for both of us. We there was a guy, maybe he'll watch this podcast, but there was a guy, and it's a really touching story. But he had a little girl who had a really bad illness from birth. She got well, and then things were great, and then she got really sick again, really, really sick. And he was working nonstop to try and fund everything and stuff like that, and he was really struggling.
right.
The family was, in a sense, falling apart from all of this. And he wanted our help. So me and my brother were like, look, we're happy to help you out, but it does take time. It's not one of these things that can happen overnight. And he was like, that's fine. He's like, I've got time, I've got a bit of money to invest and stuff. So we helped him. And the brand and the business model that we helped him with is now fully funding his daughter's medical bills, everything like that. She's much weller at the moment
Good.
as well. So she's on a good recovery. But like that alone and the impact that had on us at that time was like, it's better than making money. Like you've changed not just a little girl's life and future, but you've changed the whole family as well. You've helped them, you've put them in the right path.
So what you were creating does have a positive impact, and it's changing lives for the better.
That's it. And even though it is literally down to money, like a lot of people want to spend more time with family, and that's the freedom part, but freedom only comes when you have the money. With that, you can have freedom, but you have no money. So if you want to do things with family, if you've got sick family members or whatever it is, whatever the goal is, it starts with money, and that opens the doors up for everything else with that.
It's right. I mean, it's what makes the world go round, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is money. You have to pay for everything these days. You really do.
And then ever since like we helped that person, me and my brother had a conversation, like we were sort of like swept off our feet, like the impact it had, and it was just constant like paragraphs of how thankful they were and stuff like that. So we were like, why don't we actually put together like a platform, something, a website where people like this, or anyone that actually wants to learn something, because there was a lot of people in our position when we first started, and I was thinking of people that might be in a similar position as me, going through school, college, working a dead-end job, and you're just not happy, you're not fulfilled. What's the way out? A lot of people don't know. A lot of people think like, I earn 1,500 quid a month and that's it.
Yeah.
So being able to put together something that offers another door for people was something that we did, something that we invested a lot of time, a lot of our money into, and it's turned into a massive community that's worldwide at the moment. We work with a bunch of influencers, celebrities, changing a whole bunch of people's lives, and some of the stories we hear are very similar to the one I've said to you. And these people come to the events and they tell us in person.
For somebody watching this that you're inspiring right now as they're watching this, what would they need to come to you? So how much money would they need to say, right, well, I want to learn from you, And what are they going to learn? What are the key fundamentals that you're going to teach them?
So you don't have to learn from me. Like, this is the thing. If you want everything under one roof and you want the whole like system that we have in place, it costs to join something like that because everything's there. But I learned myself off my own back because the system that I joined, there was nothing there. So I had to learn everything inside out. The only downside you'll have without having mentors is you'll waste time and money because you're not going to know if this is right, or I don't know if X, Y, and Z is going to work. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a shot in the dark. So people come to us as more of like a shortcut to success in that term. Cost wise, we've got like different memberships for that. But we teach you everything. So like, if you've got no experience, you ain't got a clue what to do. As long as you've got a laptop, Wi-Fi connection, we'll do the rest. We'll help you through it.
Wow. Sign me up.
Yeah, sure.
I think I'm interested. So obviously it's all going well for you. You know, you've got all these people. You've obviously got a great reputation. You said that you're the leader in what you do globally, which is great. So you kind of unrivaled in a way. All that's remarkable. And you're, if I can say, you're only young as well. You're only 31, right? So you've achieved such great things in such a short period. So from the point of you dropping out of college, you then joining forces with your brother to where you are now, how long, if we're talking years, has that taken you to get to where you are now?
Oof, I would say the mentoring side of things, we've probably only been doing that for about 6 years.
Right,
We've
okay.
only been mentoring. We've been doing, me personally, I've been in e-commerce about 12 years.
But helping others 6 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So the first, before we started mentoring, it was sort of like people asked for help. Like, you know, we had a few videos that we'd done. COVID played a big part as well. I think COVID was an interesting one.
I was going to ask, did that help or did that hinder your business? Because a lot of people that were online, so well, actually it helped because people were just purchasing, had nothing else to do but buy things online.
It was an interesting one because when COVID first hit, like everything was uncertain, and like no matter what you was doing, if you went a 9 to 5 or you know you're your own device, it was like, what is going to happen? What do I do? Have I still got work? Am I still getting paid? I think the boost that we saw was when people were still getting paid but staying at home. So it's like they're having that taste of, you know, I'm at home all day with my family and I'm still making the same money or near enough the same money. How do I do this all year round? I don't want to go back to work. So then people are now looking for, you know, ways of what do I need to do? And this is where obviously we were at the point of peaking and like growing our business at that point. So the interest was flying in and we were working with some big influencers, big celebrities, helping them. So that excelled us rapidly. And with that, we were like, we need to put a team together because like this is hard work with it.
So you have such a great support team there as well.
Yeah. And of course we help as well.
Yeah, so you're getting a lot people that are coming to you then are wanting your help, support.
Yeah,
they're getting a lot from it. Because like you said, a lot of the times you get these one-trick ponies, if you like, or just one person on their own trying to advise people, well, you can do this, you can do that, and look at me, I can do this and I can do that, and only work 1 hour a day and whatever. But it's just them on their own. And really, when you look into it, you're not actually getting that much support. You've actually got, like you said, the network, the community behind it. But with all of that, with all of the success that you're having, there's got to be people out there that are envious, that are jealous. How has that shaped your life and how has that affected you? You must have had experiences of that.
Yeah, I think, interesting question. I think when I first started, jealous people were like, hey, I'd love to bite back. I'd find myself like, you know, sat there in the evening and out on the sofa just arguing with people and stuff like that.
But predominantly that gets you nowhere, right?
That's what I've learned. That's what I've learned. If anything worse.
Yeah, that the hate is hate.
That's it. And now it's a case of like, you know, when I'm even just driving through town where I live, you'll get people like, you know, staring, being like, oh, you're so lucky and all of this and stuff. And I'm thinking, yeah, you're looking at the results, not the journey.
You're not lucky. You've worked hard for it.
Yeah. I heard one the other day, Christmas Day it was, this big family walking past my house looking through the gates, and their kids were saying like, "Oh my God, check out the cars and all of this." And then the dad straight away was like, "No, they're all rented. He doesn't own any of them and stuff like that." And I'm thinking like the cars are all modified as well. So it's like I can't. To me, it's
Can't
like
do that
it
to a rented
just.
car, right?
Yeah, yeah. To me,
Oh
it's
dear.
like when I hear these comments, I'm just like, cool, like focus elsewhere. Do you know what I mean? But you always get one thing that I have realized, even speaking to like people that are a lot more successful than me, is if you've got haters, you're doing something right.
Oh, tell me about that.
That's it.
Tell me about that. Like I was telling you my story. So last year, well, this year, I went from I was always touring, but I wasn't really that known of to then, poof,
Yeah.
and now I get
Yeah.
the hate. And sometimes it's really difficult to navigate. But like you said, you've just got to ignore it. And if you're being hated upon, you're relevant.
That's it.
You,
That's
you've
it.
got people talking about you. It's when they stop hating you and people stop talking about you that you need to
That's when you
start
should be
worrying.
worried.
That's when you need to
100%.
start worrying.
Yeah.
But apart from people that are just passing or people that don't really know you, surely there's got to be friends that you've probably lost along the way that couldn't handle the success
A
that you were
lot.
having.
A lot of them. Even family as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Family as well.
Which is surprising as
Wow.
well. But friends, definitely. One guy that I used to go to school with when I moved, went to college with, worked with as well for a couple of years. Second, I started doing my own thing and trying to, improve myself. Pure negativity, like left, right, and center. Every time I'd see him, it would always basically, "Oh, you still working there?" and stuff like that, knowing that I am trying to better myself. And I'd be like, "Yep," because he got this fancy new job. And it just got to a point where it's just like eventually they just distance themselves. But definitely a lot of friends, especially in the workplace, like because I spent a lot of time there, made a lot of good friendships, people there. I reckon I probably speak to one or two people out of like a good 100 strong out of that workplace.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think that is a big issue in this day and age. The second you do try and do something better for yourself, or you've got an idea, people want to shoot it down so quick. And it does get hard. But
And not just privately, but publicly these days too.
yeah,
Because everything's online.
it's
They
more
need to
public.
negative comments and whatever posts about you negatively. It's all public. Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, you've had the negativity. You've had all of that. You've got your success. People will say that. But how has that affected you with like trusting people? Because obviously, you kind of have people that will hate upon you. They'll, "Oh, I don't want to be friends with you anymore. I can't keep up," and they are envious because they're no longer top dog, if you like. What about you trusting people in your inner circle? Because surely you've got some people as well that will just want to get in on that, but for the wrong reasons.
So letting people into my circle, I would say, I think with that, like keeping it simple, I have a small circle. And I think the smaller your circle, as long as you've got like good people in it, like, yeah, I'm happy to make new friends, I always chat to new people and stuff. But if your circle is small, it's less issues. That's what I found all the time. Like when or relating it back to when I used to be a chef, my circle was huge. I spoke to everybody that works there, going out all the time. So much drama. And it's like now, I think keeping your circle small but having the right people in it is the main focus.
And I take it that the ones that you do have are very supportive of you. Have they invested their time into what you do as well?
Yeah, I would say the people closest to me, they're building brands, building businesses, like they have their own success with what they're doing. And I think just being able to like support each other, like, if they need help, I'm more than happy to help. If I need help with something, they're happy to jump in. But it's always, I think the key part with my circle at the moment is there's always, like I said, there's always people above you. No matter what you do in life, there's always someone else on that next level. And if you want to grow in life, you need to take advice of people in the position you want to be in.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that I've probably learned the hard way, starting off a bit rocky. But it's definitely good to have people that want to all go up to the next level together.
To learn. I think it's
Yeah.
a lot of people, especially when people are younger, they're a little bit wet behind the ears and they think
Yeah.
they know everything, they've got it all
That's it.
sorted
That's
out,
it.
and they're not willing to learn from somebody else or take advice. But it sounds like you've learned every lesson along the way.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think the best advice for those people that know everything is less talking, more listening, and you'll
Right.
get further. 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, all that being said, you are successful. You've done really, really well in life, and people will think of you in a certain way. But what is the biggest misconception? So people will see your life and they'll assume what it really is like. They'll assume what the life is that you lead. But what is the reality of that? Like, what do you do? What is your day-to-day regime, diary, the things that you struggle with, all those things that people don't necessarily see or know of you?
I think the first thing people see is, like, if you just come to my Instagram, you will just see someone that's got nice things, enjoying life. And I think that can come across either inspirational, or maybe it can come across, I don't know, bragging or something like that. And I think, whatever way you look at it is a big reflection of yourself as well, whoever's looking at that. Because, when once again, going way back, like primary school onwards, when I'd see someone driving past, it didn't even need to be brand new, but like in a Porsche, I'd be like, Mum, Porsche, look at that. Like, do you know what I mean? And my mum would be like, if you work hard, you have something
You
like
can
that.
have that too, yeah.
Yeah. And I think, like, you get two different people in life. You get people that are in their comfort zones, happy to put down other people if it benefits them. But then you'll get people that are like, they'll ask the question. So, like, people come to my page and like, yo, bro, what do you do? How can I get on board?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. They're the people that are looking to level up, essentially. So I'd be like, don't look at my Instagram and think that I'm a cocky asshole, because I'm not. I am so happy to help people. I'm so happy. Like, if you build a business with my help and you make a lot of money from it, I don't take a penny. It's all yours. I'm just glad to see that you've succeeded.
But one lesson I've learned as well is that you always are going to get slated and
100%.
Disapproved by people doing less than you, than people that are doing just as much as you or more than you. It's always people doing less that have got something to say. They're the ones that are going to spread the hate, not the ones, like you said, that you need to go to for the advice. But I'm glad that you're navigating that.
Yeah,
that you're navigating that well. Yeah,
I think with what you've said there as well, you'll never see someone doing better than you hating on you. I don't think I've ever had that, not once. But it's always like any hate, like what you said, people
somebody
under.
coming less.
Yeah,
You've got people that will dream. You've got people that I want this, I want that, and I wish that could be me and whatever. And then you've got the doers, and that's the two types of people. The people that will sit back, I wish I could do that, I want this, but like you said at the very beginning, they kind of accept, well, this is my lot. This is it. This is going to be my life. There's something I can do about that. I've just got to accept it. And then you've got the people that aren't willing to accept that. They want to go out there and better their life and do it.
that's it.
So what if there's somebody right now watching this? Because hopefully this is going to inspire a lot of people. Those people that are sat watching this, thinking, "Gosh, that's a really great story. I wish I could do that." What is your key advice to those people?
Okay, I would say, if you're somebody that wants to level up, someone that is looking to do good in life, whether it's for, personal gain, personal goals, or it's for family, or for friends, or whatever the reason is, you need to understand, I would say, priorities is your first thing. So if you're working a 9 to 5 and, you hate your job, it's not something you want to do forever, stop looking at that as a job and just more of a tool of, this makes me X amount of money a month. And I've got, spare cash to invest into something. On top of that, start looking at money as a tool rather than having that emotional attachment to money. The second you have an emotional attachment to money, you are going down the path of being screwed. You're going to be scared to invest and stuff like that. But, oh, wait, new iPhone comes out. Cool. Yeah, I'll spend $1,000 on that. Do you know what I mean? It's priorities in that sense. But find yourself a good mentor. Do your research. Look into 100% of everything. Don't just throw money at stuff. Invest in the right places. Put the time in. And ultimately, treat your investment like a gym membership. Like, anyone can buy the best gym membership. Anyone can buy the the best PT, the best food plan, the best equipment. But if you don't show up and put the work in, what do you think is going to happen?
It's useless, isn't it?
It's useless.
Yeah.
So, but then if you have everything there and you show up and you do more than what needs to be done, damn, you're going to get some incredible results.
You are so down to earth. You're so humble. You're a great guy. You've done amazingly well so far. And I wish you every bloody success
I appreciate
in your future. It's been a great conversation.
It's been really good. Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant.